Hi everyone, Cassandra here with Sassy Cassy Sewing. Thanks for joining me today. I'm going to teach you today how to make a zippered pouch. These can be used either for a pencil pouch or for a little cosmetic pouch, and they make really cute gifts, and the holidays are coming up. This would be a really fun thing to make for people. So to start with, you're going to need a piece of fabric for your main fabric, and you're going to be doing 2 cuts of each. So this is my outside fabric for my bag. And then you're also going to need lining. So 2 pieces of your lining, which will be cut to the same size, and then 2 pieces of interfacing. Now, you can use any kind of fusible interfacing that you want. I chose the fusible fleece interfacing because I like the thickness of it. It makes the bag a lot sturdier. And I always choose a fusible so that it just irons onto it. So the size that I cut today was an 8x10. You can do whatever size you want, but I think an 8x10 is a great size. It's a perfect size for pencils. And so we just cut it 8x10. And then also you're going to need a zipper. It doesn't matter what size zipper as long as it's longer than the bag. We're going to cut this down to size later, so it doesn't matter what size as long as it's longer than your bag. I like to buy my zippers for a really cheap price. I buy them in bulk, and they are way cheaper if you do it that way. So if you want to find out where to buy the zippers, then just hop onto my website. A link will be posted at the end, and I'll show you where you can get those. Just click on my zippered pouch tutorial. Okay, so to get started, we're going to flip over our main fabric, and on the wrong side of that main fabric, we are going to put our interfacing down on top. Remember that the bumpy side goes down because that's our resin or our glue. You might notice also that my interfacing is a little bit smaller than my fabric, and that's kind of how we want it to be because we don't want any piece of the interfacing hanging over the edge where it can melt onto the ironing board when we iron it. So now we're going to iron our interfacing onto our fabric. So to fuse our interfacing to our fabric, you can kind of just read the directions on your interfacing, but generally about 15 seconds holding the iron on there should be pretty good to make sure that it all adheres to the fabric. So I'm just picking my iron up and getting all of the pieces here. Okay, so we have our interfacing now ironed to our fabric, so we are going to sew these pieces together. First thing we're going to do is we are going to lay down 1 piece of the lining. Then we're going to take the zipper and we're going to put it right side up, and we're going to put that zipper tape along the edge of our lining, the longer edge. Then we're going to take a piece of our main fabric and we're going to place it down with the raw edges even along the zipper tape. We want both the long sides even and the short sides even. Let's pin this in place. And this is one part where you're kind of going to want to pay attention to the direction of your fabric. You can see when I flip this over, I have my sharks going out to the sides. So you'll see that a little bit better when we're done. And now we're going to take it over to our sewing machine. So now we're ready to sew. We need to change our presser foot to our zipper foot. So let's remember to do that. I'm going to put this on the left side of the zipper foot. Now we're going to bring our fabric under here, and you want that zipper foot to be against this side of the teeth, okay? Not on this side. You want it on the side closest to the edge. So I'm just going to start up here. Make sure that that's in there. Really good. And we're going to do our back stitching, and you want to make sure to feel that your presser foot stays along the teeth as you work. Stop to take out our pin. back stitch once throughout the edge again. Lift, and my scissors are over here. Whoops, excuse my reach. And trim our threads. Now we're going to take this back over to the iron, and we are going to flip our bag this way and iron all of this part down. And we're going to flip over to the back side of the lining and also pull it away from the teeth and just iron it down. Okay, so now you can see how nice and flat that is because I ironed it down. So now we have to repeat and sew this side of the zipper. So we're going to do the same thing where we put down our lining first, and then we're going to bring this in here like this, and we're going to put the zipper tape on the edge of the fabric, the lining fabric, and you want to make sure that your edges are even. See how they're not even right here? We want to scoot that over because we want it to be sewn evenly. And then we're going to put this piece down again, and I want it to open up this way so that my sharks are facing out on both sides of the zipper. So I'm just going to flip it over like this, and you can see that my edges are even with the other parts of my bag, and then these edges are even, the lining and the zipper tape. So I'm going to hold it down with a few pins. Now I'm going to bring this over to my sewing machine, slide it under here, and repeat the same thing, sewing down along the edge. And I know it's a little bit thick because of the interfacing, so I always just kind of feel for my zipper tape and make sure that my zipper foot is against it. And you can also kind of eyeball the edge of your fabric. It should probably line up against the edge of your presser foot. And if it's not, then you'll know that it's not quite even. And back stitch, trim. Repeat the same technique of ironing. You're going to flip this over, make sure you flip your other piece of your lining over as well, and give that a good press. So now you can see they're pressed down really nice and flat. So we are going to turn it so that our bag is right sides together, and we're just going to pin the bag. We're actually going to be sewing this long side, so I don't need a pin there, the long side of the bag. So let's change our presser foot back to our regular presser foot. And you can take this in here and sew at 1/2 inch seam allowance. Okay, now this is going to be the seam on the inside of your bag, and so if you want to make it, give it a nice finish so that the seam does not fray, then we can pink the ends, pink the seam. So I'm going to take my pinking shears, which really need to be sharpened, and I'm just going to cut along here, just to finish that seam so that it's not fraying. If you have a serger, you could throw it through the serger, which I do have a serger, but for this tutorial I'm just going to show you the pinking shears. And then I'm going to iron open my seams just to give it a flat lay. Okay, I just ironed open my seams, and now I'm going to take the seam basically and put it along the zipper teeth. You can see how it just kind of goes straight through the zipper teeth right there. And I'm going to put a pin on the edges. So we're going to be sewing these short ends now. Before I do this, I need to unzip my zipper so that I can flip the bag when we're done. So I'm going to zip it down a little more than halfway. I'm actually going to flip it to this side because we want to make sure that our teeth line up right here, so that they stay together once everything is sewn. So I'm going to put a pin there to kind of hold that in place, and then right here because we want those teeth to stay together. So now I'm going to bring it over here on the other side. Take our pins. I could just take both pins out. I'm following that 1/2 inch seam allowance. I'm going very slow over my zipper, and I'm also doing a back stitch across it just for extra reinforcement, and because we are going to be cutting our zipper. And then a back stitch at the end. Now we are done, and we can cut our zipper off at this point. Oops. So we'll cut it off on both ends. And if you want to take those pinking shears again, just to give it a nice clean finish. You could also zigzag the edges. Sometimes my students will zigzag, which gives it a nice finish. So the last step in this is to make our box corners, which is going to give it a 3D effect. So put your hand inside your pouch there, and maybe just point your finger up there into the corner and pinch it, making it into a triangle. You want this to be a triangle, and you want it to be pretty flat in there. We're going to take a ruler and measure 1 inch down. And like I said, this is going to give it a 3D effect, the bag, so it's not just a flat pouch. It's going to be an actual 3D dimensional bag. So we're going to draw a line across. And then if you need to, you can stick a pin in here just to hold it down. Okay, so you see how your corner is there. We're going to take it under our machine here and sew across the line, just right on top of that line. Angle up, and again, you can just finish it off whichever way you've been finishing your seams, pinking shears, or whether you're cutting and zigzagging, but I'm taking my pinking shears in here and just cutting across like so. And you're going to repeat this for all 4 corners. So you'll come in. Okay, so now we have all of our corners sewn, all of our box corners, and all we have left to do is flip it right side out. Remember, you left your zipper open so that you could flip it. Just press out your corners with your fingers or with a chopstick, which is how I like to flip corners. And that's it. That's your zippered pouch. I made mine a little bit wider. You can make it skinnier if you want, but my feedback from most people that have made this is that they wanted it a little bit bigger. So this is the perfect size to keep you know, your school supplies, pencils, tape. If you want to keep cosmetics in here, you could easily, I don't know about for a shark, but you know, do something cute and you can make it a cosmetic pouch. But this is the perfect size for just little tools, and they're kind of fun and super easy. So let me know how I did. Drop me a comment. Let me know how you liked this tutorial, and make sure to visit my website. I will list all of the tools that I used for this tutorial, including where to get the zippers in bulk. So visit www.sassycassysews.com. You can look on my sewing tutorial page to find this tutorial, or just plug it in the search bar, zippered pouch, and you can find that there. So thanks for joining me today, and I will see you again next time.